Hey friends, I've got an easy baking project for you. I think you're going to love it. You know about banana bread, right? And some days you're just sitting around waiting for the bananas to get ripe enough so that you can make the best possible banana bread. But I want you to tell banana bread to move over because I've got a wonderful recipe for strawberry bread. Let me tell you about it. Let me tell you why I love it. First of all, it's a simple stir together baking recipe because it uses vegetable oil instead of butter. Now, I love cooking with butter, but you've got to let it soften. You got to cream it with the sugar. Recipes like carrot cake that use vegetable oil instead of butter are simple to stir together. And speaking of which, if you've got a big mixer you love to use or a hand mixer you love to use, good, have at it. But I'm especially fond of recipes where we don't really need that. You can use a wooden spoon, you can use a metal spoon, you can use a whisk. You don't have to get out that electricity unless you want to. So that can make it low tech and in an old-fashioned way that I enjoy. Next, it lets you play with your spices. The basic recipe calls for cinnamon, lots and lots of cinnamon, and I do love it. But you know, in many recipes, and especially this one, you can always play around. And so if the recipe calls for 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, you could do 1 of cinnamon and 1 of a spice mix. I've got cardamom, allspice, cinnamon, cloves, and ginger here, just to name a few. You could mix those up, use the same amount, and you've got a strawberry bread spice. You've got an apple pie spice. You've got a spice mixture that you can play with of sweet spices. Next, this recipe, you can make it in a beautiful loaf, like I'm doing in the video, or or you can use my special jumping mini muffin pan. I'm kidding, it didn't jump, I just almost dropped it. You can make regular muffins, you can make mini muffins, you can make little teeny loaves instead of one big loaf. The thing to remember, if you switch a recipe from, say, a standard loaf pan to a small loaf pan, muffins or mini muffins, the smaller it is, the quicker it's going to cook. So if it cooks in 45 minutes in a big pan, start checking at, say, 20 or 25 when it's going smaller, because it just takes less time to cook. Okay, that's 4 reasons, but let me show you the best reason. It's absolutely delicious. It's makeable, doable, ordinary recipes, low tech, and strawberry bread is so tasty. And the best thing about this recipe is I got it from my dear friend, Debbie. She always brought it along on road trips when we had a big 10-hour drive to go visit some dear friends up in Pennsylvania. And she would always bring along a loaf of strawberry bread for the car and an extra loaf of strawberry bread for our friends because we would eat the whole thing on the way. So it is a time-tested, road-tested, delicious recipe. It makes plenty to share with friends, but it's also worth making just for you. Let me show you how. remember I promised, if you stuck with me, I've got 2 tips for you on time shifting when you want to make strawberry bread. First one involves fresh strawberries and how to work ahead so that you can do this really quickly whenever you've got that strawberry bread craving, which comes often. Okay, I've got fresh strawberries. I've chopped up, and I just zip off that top, that green part, and that's discarded. Take this part off. That goes into compost. I've got 3 berries chopped up here. Okay, I'm gonna slice these up. I'm gonna chop them up coarsely. And I need 1 cup. So I've got 1 cup. This is already chopped. I'm gonna add the rest of this in. And that gives me my 1 cup. A little over is okay. All right, so I've got my 1 cup of chopped strawberries. And I've got this is a sandwich size bag. A pint size freezer bag holds 2 cups. You just need 1 cup. So a sandwich bag is exactly the right size. Or you could freeze it in 2 cup portions and make a double batch. So I'm gonna put my chopped fresh strawberries into this little bag. I'm gonna put the 1.5 teaspoons of sugar that goes in on them to make them juicy. And I'm just gonna shake it up and toss it around just a little bit. And then I'm gonna put it down on here and press it out so that it is flat, because I want this to be a flat bag, not a big fat one. It's easier to stack them up in the freezer if they're flat. And I push the air out and seal it up. And here I've got exactly what I need. 1 cup of sugared strawberries that's ready to go into the recipe. Set it out about maybe 20 minutes before you want to bake. You could also get it out of here and chop it up, doesn't matter, but don't let it sit out for too long. You don't want it to get super mushy. But I put that in the freezer and it becomes this. And so now I've got a stack of 2. I could have 3 or 4 of these. So whenever I buy strawberries and we enjoy them and I've got a few left over, you can just add to it. So keep strawberries chopped up, ready to go in the freezer, and you're ready for strawberry bread. My other advice is to just use frozen strawberries. You can set them out so that they are separate, chop them up while they're still frozen, and use them in strawberry bread. They'll be absolutely wonderful. The important thing is, don't let them thaw all the way out. Don't set the bag out on the freezer and leave it out for 2 hours, because then you'll have really strawberry goo. They'll thaw out too much. So you can use frozen strawberries if you chop them up while they're still frozen and use them quickly. It'll make wonderful strawberry bread, and that way you can have it really any time of year. So buy frozen strawberries and chop them. Chop up fresh strawberries, put the sugar on them, and keep them in the freezer, and you're ready for strawberry bread. 2 ways to go. Now, I've got a loaf. I made this a couple of days ago, put it in the freezer. I let it thaw out, and I warmed it up just gently in the oven, in a 300-degree oven, till it got warm to the touch. And you could also, of course, take it out and freeze it when it's out of the pan, but I wanted to show you taking this out with the paper on it. Remember, you don't have to have paper. It just gives you extra insurance. As long as you butter it really well, I think it's gonna come out and you'll be fine. But this one, when you have the paper, it helps you get that bottom part loosened up, and everything, I get the wonderful cinnamony aroma, and everything comes out nicely, nothing sticks. And just peel the paper off. This is still nice and warm to the touch. And we toss that away, and let's slice it. When I'm slicing strawberry bread, I like to use a serrated knife. This is a small serrated knife. If you have a big one for slicing bread, that's perfect. And of course you can use any sharp knife, but a serrated knife helps you get a nice smooth crumb. So I like to take off a big, generous end piece, because I'm usually going to toast that one. Sometimes I save that because that makes just such a great breakfast. And then I come in and I like to go maybe about 3/4 of an inch thick. I like nice thick pieces. And I'm going to put these on a plate to enjoy. You can serve it warm. You can give somebody a whole loaf. You can wrap up a couple of slices. It's just like banana bread, only a little bit more special. So I like to have strawberry bread in my easy baking wheelhouse, and I hope that you'll try it and like it too. And yes, I can't resist having a bite. delicious buttered, delicious toasted, and breakfast, lunch, dinner, and a great thing to mail off to a friend. It is so tender, so moist, everything you love about banana bread, and another way to go. So make my strawberry bread. Let me know what you think about it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye now.